Hello and welcome once again to Wars Going On. I'm Arcturus and we are here on the Forerunner server to bring you the latest in what's going on in Watcher of Realms. As ever, this is a community-based podcast. Please do remember to like, subscribe, hype, share, do whatever it is to spread word about this channel, this series, because it really does help grow the channel. Sebastian is here and we have a lot to talk about today. There have been so many other content creators pushing information about these Soulstone shards, so there's plenty to talk about, some good, some bad, but yeah, we will get into it and see how this episode develops. So, right, straight into the patch notes because there is a lot to cover. So, first of all, Malrik got hench. He got so Malrik, the wizard. So he's now who hands out his wizard's rune, which buffs the stats of allies. One ally by 15% is now going to have the opportunity to cast on deployment. So he's going to have the opportunity to cast a second one as soon as he casts his first ultimate. Now, in the new fiery volcano, that's going to come in pretty handy because then because there are so few ground tiles, you need to be able to kill the units as soon as they appear. So this is going to be something which I think is going to come in really handy. So anything where you can create a choke point, you can get him set up to slow someone down because he's casting Winter's Bite, especially if you get him A1 because they buffed his A1 so that he has a 100% chance of dropping a Winter's Bite with his stat, his Ice Storm, which is one of his basic in ice mode. So yeah, there's plenty. I think it's every 4 attacks that he does the Ice Storm, but yeah, so they basically buffed him a lot to try and make him more viable, increased his rage reach
in the game since it was introduced. They just can't make up their mind as to how strong they want to make him, right? So,
well, I mean, this is a guy who has a 20% damage buff as part of his talent. His base stats is like 4,700, so he's immediately, if you're looking at raw damage, assuming no defense, he's got one of the highest impact damages of anybody in terms of mages. When you start getting
so I imagine that right now he's not having a play in service, right? You're not seeing him in the leaderboard, so maybe this entices people to use him a little bit, but everything about him has been about this rune, about him buffing other heroes, and I don't think. Well, hopefully they get it right with this one, and he becomes a little bit more useful because I think that after a while, people just kind of brush them to the side, and if you summon him, they're like, oh crap, just something else that I'm gonna put on the shelf.
Yeah, I mean, I've got him. I don't have him particularly well built. I don't even think I've got all my skill crystals in him. So yeah, there's definitely an opportunity for him to be pretty decent now, especially with his skills. Let's just go back to the update because as I have just kind of blitzed through giving you the crib notes of what they've changed. But so yeah, they've given him this extra skill to deploy a extra rune. The ultimate increases the rage to both him and allies with the caster, so they basically double the rage regen when he casts his ultimate, so it goes from 10% to 20%. And during they've tweaked the permanent attack boost, so rather than it being 5% 5 times when skilled up, it's now 10% 3 times, so it's a 5% attack gain. So it's a small increase in his base attack. So yeah, well, I have to see how that plays out. I've already mentioned the A1, so that's going from 70% to 100% with the Winter's Bite. And so again, this interaction of rage regen, depending on how apparently there's a bug with his passive about rage being incorrectly restored when other allies were in rage. Okay, they fixed that. But they're having lots of problems with rage regen at the moment, and this is probably just another one of the things they've tried to fix along the way. So I think this is interesting for him. I think it's going to make him more viable in overall. I think anything which puts more damage out is always going to be a popular solution. So you can probably just see that above Sebastian's head. Is this bonus skill. So it's Rune of Deception, a bonus one when he's in the Malrik halls, but only in Malrik's halls. Yeah, and this extra Wizard's Rune Rage regen. So yeah, interesting hero. I mean, he's got the special. He's got the same Vienna attack range, which I really wish they would give to more mages. So he's special on that side, and then he's doing Winter's Bite, which is pretty good. And then there's this Ice Blast, which will be a 100% at A1.
It'll be interesting to see if he does become a staple, because I mean the name is there, right? It's Malrik's Halls of Illusion, so he should have a predominant role there. So hopefully this does it.
Yeah.
Especially like you said, if they you can manage to get him to, well, A3 is the sweet spot, but that A1, so you can have a little bit of CC as well, because now it's not RNG dependent. In the with the Winter Bite is guaranteed now, right? They go from
to
so
the Winter's Bite goes to 100% chance to inflict Winter's Bite.
And
but you still need you still need 3 stacks of Winter's Bite, so you would ideally need someone else trying to apply Winter's Bite at the same time, but you might be able to come up with a composition if you didn't have Ymmerit that could get it from other people. To really try and lock them down if you were trying to go down that route.
All right, so in paper it looks good. So hopefully he has a little bit more play. All right.
Definitely. Diaochan's been fixed yet again. I think this is the 4th fix to Diaochan. Apparently they've fixed her switching more. Unexpected extra skill cast would occasionally occur during arena auto fights. So this is for probably people who are using in her chaotic teams, and she would suddenly go, all of my allies have got low health, I must save them, and starts healing them all, which isn't necessarily what you want with a chaotic team. Fixed an issue where some monsters...
I was going to say just in time as the chaotic faction is kind of being put aside, especially with Valderon kind of losing steam in arena right now, single target arena, because everybody, I mean, you can see it, everybody's so focused on this A5 Kigiri, A5 Suwon composition with Ingrid, the Watchguard one, but you know.
To be fair, you don't need an A5 Sun Wukong. You only need Sun Wukong to do the initial block. As soon as you got the A5 Kigiri, and you just start timing that final ultimate, it's absolutely devastating.
Yeah, but A5 just allows you to progress through the battle a little bit quicker for Sun Wukong. I'm just saying that. Yeah. The developers here are going to have to imagine ways to bring back Valderon into the fold, especially if they're going to throw another banner of him here soon.
Yeah. Well, what they'll do is they'll give him some exclusive gear, which gives him 100% defense penetration on every basic attack. I mean, because he's already massively overpowered. He's got an exclusive artifact, which makes him even worse. So what else can they do? He's already got magic vulnerability.
There'll be other heroes that come in just to compensate for all of this. Yeah.
Sorry, I have a chip on my shoulder about Valderon.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm just saying I want to say it's been now 4 cycles where they now have released a hero that people are just using to farm arena or try to get into the Apex Overlord tier of arena. So they're doubling down on a bad system as it stands right now. So it is what it is.
They keep saying arena is working as intended. Interestingly, they have admitted that if you interrupt a auto playthrough and your team that is saved isn't geared, you can lower your BP, and even though your gear is saved, and so this is seen as a fair strategy in arena. No, that's BP manipulation.
Many times have we been saying that here. People manipulate the BP of the battle. Yeah, working as intended. Yeah, that's always been their it's all right, let's go to Diaochan was fixed. All right, great. Hopefully she works like she's supposed to. All right, who else got fixed here?
So in terms of units, apparently they've stopped it when multiple heroes try and kill the same unit. Fixed issue where heroes and monsters would occasionally try to cause problems by attacking already dead units. Okay. Fixed an issue with Beelzebub's AoE damage reduction effect for allies in range, and would only apply to non-full HP allies, which is slightly problematic. And fixed an issue where tactician heroes would slow down the game speed when using skills when they were affected by control effects. Okay. Where the Drake's the Shards Soulstone thing, I will put a link to the blog post from the devs because it's long, and I mean I can put it. There are so many videos out now about this. Fasty's done videos on it, Susie's done videos on it, Sebastian's done videos on it, but basically Nightmare 3 Legendary upwards, you have the opportunity to gather shards for these unpolished soulstones, and we will talk about that in a little bit, but let's try and get through the update before we start ranting completely. Guild Wars Season 11 is coming, new stuff on the way, new Demon Soldier Frozen Raider, ranged physical DPS that deals extra damage to heroes inflicted with Winter's Bite. So they're actually adding some DPS into the Frozen Soldier faction, so that's going to be interesting. And they've added some new things into the... Sorry,
right now, you really can't use that faction unless you get Glacius. You really need Glacius to get that faction to pop. So maybe this is a way, in case you're unlucky, to get him from a freaking chest. But I'm not holding out too much promise. Or we'll see. We'll see what this new Demon Soldier brings. Now, the ones that I think are going to have a little bit more of an impact, and again, this is going to dilute all the progress that we were made with the previous Demon Soldiers, are going to be these new chaotic ones. So
yeah. So there's two new chaotic units come into the pool. So one's called the Bloodmend Rats and the Emberfire Templars. Okay, so let's just pull these guys up. We can have a look at them, talk about how we think we might use them. So here we go. First up, we've got this guy. So this is the guy. He looks like the Fallen Templar. His basic attack is when taking damage from an enemy's basic, there's 25% chance to inflict burning on that hero. Burning deals 25% continuous magic damage for 3 seconds. Now, this is interesting. So when an adjacent demon soldier dies, the caster gains magic damage reduction for 10 seconds. It doesn't stack. He's chaotic, does chaotic things, but it's level, obviously the legendary version, so it's 15% damage to them and receives 10% more damage from Watchers and Arbiters. HP, Fanaticism, so increases the damage reduction to 30% from 20%, so not bad. And I think the final upgrade is more magic resistance. So just the video of this guy working. So basically there is an opportunity to inflict burning on heroes who are attacking him. Now, there's lots of situations where we've seen on maps at the moment where you have something like an Ivar and a Lady Alexandra supported by Diaochan, and they're just wailing on everything that's on their way in. This guy is a counter to that, I believe. I think is the idea.
Yeah, it's especially if you leave a unit that is not covered by the healer. You're gonna have to compensate for that. And I'm wondering how, because right away the utility that I think about with him is that a lot of the Lady A compositions that are being used right now typically go no healer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about a battle to just burst as much damage as you can before they even get to you. So
exactly.
This will force you to kind of compensate for that if, in fact, this is what they're going to toss at you. Now, he is vulnerable to that type of damage, so he won't last as long. But how many times will that burn proc to bring that health down? That's something that we have to test.
Or, I mean, so he's chaotic unit, he's doing fire damage. So which unit do you immediately bring out in that situation? Yeah. So the Chaos Shaman. So you dump these two together, 8 cost, or I think he's 5 cost, 6 cost, so 9 cost. And you dump the two of these together, they stomp across the battlefield. He's powering up the fire damage.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as the shaman goes down, he gets damage reduction, and then you send in the next wave of chaos.
That'd be one, yep. We already seen with this shaman as to how that burn affects a tank, especially like Cyrus. You know, it just completely wears them down really quick if you use them right. And so now you're compounding with all of this. So it'll be okay. So he's definitely going to change the dynamic of defense building. That's the way that I'm seeing whoever's lucky enough to get this fellow into their account. So I would say this is going to be a good investment of those legendary void cores, at least on paper right now. I do really want to see him in action first. Just to see how that burn can proc, but it's just, you can just imagine, like you said, deploying both of them at the same time so he gets that boost, and then somebody like Lady A hitting him, not having a healer protection. It's just trying to figure out how quickly is she just going to get burned out. And so that's what I was thinking right away. Is just the way I think that they're noticing how people are building defenses, especially now with Lady A. So they're trying to give people counters for that, and then eventually people are going to have to compensate for it. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Again, making defenses easier to crack. And that's all they've been trying to do over the last two seasons. Just make GvG so much easier for everybody.
Now you may recognize something that looks like this from AoE Arena, but he works in a very different way. So rather than causing explosive damage when he pops, he heals his nearby allies. It's called Bloodmend. Does 3% per rat of healing, and does minor damage to nearby heroes in range. So he does a little bit of explosion, nothing like the rats from AoE Arena.
And he
Demon
is...
Soldier... Go ahead.
No, keep going. He's 4 cost, but I was just... one of the first stats that I had was, it's not like the Grotesque Fiend needs any more help.
What do you mean? He's struggling at the moment. He's really fighting to like take down defenses. He's just getting wiped out too easily. No, everything with the Grotesque Fiend is just a BP check, and as soon as you've got that BP threshold or the level threshold, he just walks through them. But so it's 3% if they're non-faction. So the Grotesque Fiend will actually get 5% per rat. And then you have the opportunity, if you get these guys to level 5, you've then got 4 of them, so it's still 5%. So between 15 and 20% per stack of rats for 4 cost. It's effectively 1 cost more than the leveled up spiders for the same number of units. but at the same time you're providing additional healing to the grotesque fiend. It's going to keep him alive longer. After he's done his big heal up, it's going to level him up. Yeah, there's all sorts of craziness you can go with this guy. I think it's going to be a pain in the butt. So they kind of try to show it, but because they're using ungeared, unleveled units, it doesn't show anything. So, yeah.
Of course, yeah. Those little guides, they're not really helpful until you're able to test them in the sandbox and really try to get an idea of what they do. So, yeah, they're going to be interesting characters for sure. It's going to change. Yeah, it's going to change things a little bit. So, yeah. So, this is what I briefly said in my video. Everything that we've done over the last year with Demon Shoulders is kind of getting wiped out, and now they're pushing it all to this new ones, and they're diluting the chest with new Demon Shoulders, so the odds presumably to get the captains or the new ones drop. Yeah, it's all
yeah. I think I'm not entirely sure. I don't think the percentage of chance of getting because what it'll do, the way it calculates is it does calculation, rarity, and then within the rarity it then selects within. So if you hit legendary, the chance of getting the one you want is being diluted, but the chance of getting a captain versus a legendary isn't going to change. So I think that's the distinction that people need to understand. They're not diluting the chance of getting a captain unit, but they will dilute.
It's the other ones. It's the whole cast right now, the legendaries, the new legendaries that you have.
And those guys are the same. We don't yet have the Frozen guy. He'll come up as soon as Season 11 maps appear. We'll be able to have a look at him, and we'll show him off. But it sounds like he's going to be an interesting addition to the Frozen units. But yeah, until you get this guy, the Frozen team just doesn't quite roll. Even with like an L5 Frost Guardian. Because he just doesn't. He needs that heal, and the best person to give him that heal is Glacius.
And that should be an epic, right? The Guild Wars specific ones, they're just epics. So
yeah, they tend to be just epics.
So before you go on to the next one, I just wanted to close it up by saying this is something that I've always been saying about Muntan is their deficiencies lie in instituting or implementing PvP modes in the game, and they just doubling down on it, and they just seem to make it worse as it evolves. And this is why I always have given Arc Knights props, because I think that they know that it's really hard to have PvP systems in the tower defense game. And they just decided, no, we're going to stay here, give people events, and keep the focus on tower defense, content, and not worry about PvP, even though some players knock it. But I think that they have the right idea here when it comes to Arc Knights.
I did try Arc Knights the other day just to try and get a feel for it, because obviously it's a big competitor in the field. I found the interface quite clunky in comparison to Watcher of Realms.
It is. I mean, Watcher of Realms does do some stuff better when it comes to the tower defense layout. But when I played it in just to get familiar with everything and how they ran things and stuff like that, I just I appreciated that they just focus more on that. Not only do you have the campaign and all that stuff, but they're just throwing you events similar to what we have here, right? With all these events, but they're tied up to heroes. They're just doing it like in seasonal stuff. It's like, okay, here, boss, you have your roster, go battle it out. Try to see what you can do in terms of forming rosters and trying to beat this thing down. And that has a little bit more cohesiveness instead of trying to force PvP modes. So there is some type of, it's not even synchronous activity, because you're still just going against the bot.
It's just a named bot. Yeah,
exactly. It's a named bot, and they just want to double down on it and every time it just goes downhill. So
Yeah.
there. That's my little piece on PvP right now as it stands for Watcher Wars.
Okay, so we touched on this a little bit earlier. So they're now introducing so this is from season 11 onwards. They thankfully didn't add it to the last week of season 10 because that would have added additional chaos. So a bot stronghold will be added to the original 5 commander strongholds. It's defended by bot units set by the system. The guard strength is affected by the guild's current tier. So the stronger your guild is, the where you're ranking overlord, etc., it will be harder to defeat the bots in this thing. You can attack it, but you do less damage overall, and you can, no matter how much damage you do, you can only account for 25% of your enemy's HP overall. So
yeah, is there something else that you wanted to add before?
add the rewards are lower, so you can't get the mystery demon chest from it.
That's
So-
big. Not getting demon soldiers, that is big right there. So
Yeah.
okay, so let me add this up because I want to make sure that I did not misunderstood the dev interview. I thought that they were going to form 2 leagues, or they were going to have a ranking system where there would be the leagues that are on top, and then there would be the leagues on the bottom, and then the leagues on the bottom, especially the ones that they want to focus on, would have this. This sounds like it's going to be universal. All leagues are going to have a shot at this. And
I think it's one of those things where they looked at how easy it was to implement this 2-tier system, and they went, "Oh, it's too difficult. We'll just add an extra tower in because we know how to do that. It's copy and paste the code," which is disappointing.
it is. I'm just saying that in top guilds, this is going to cause some headaches if you don't have very disciplined players. But this, for people that really don't give a crap about GvG, it's fine. But here's the thing, that there's no incentive in really doing it because you're not getting anything from it to level up the demon soldiers that you need to do that content. So
Yeah.
they keep talking about, okay, yes, we're going to have events where you're going to be able to use your demon soldiers outside of Guild Wars, but if you don't do Guild Wars like you're supposed to, you're not going to get the upgrades that you need to possibly then do that Mountain Crusade. So why put it in to begin with?
Yeah.
That's right.
The only thing I can think of is that if you're relatively new to GvG, or you're in a low level guild, or you're up against someone who's completely overpowered versus your power level, this gives you an opportunity to contribute. Or if you're uncertain about how to attack a demon, it's like, well, I can, because we'll talk, it kind of flows into the next bit here where they talk about demon soldier plans. The system is going to start recommending teams to you, and then you can go, okay, so if I encounter a team like that, I can set my team like this, and I can go. And it's very easy for us endgame players to look at this and go, it's a joke. No one's going to use it. It's unnecessary content that's being added to the game.
Right.
But if you're new to it, if you're not very good, if you're not very confident, this might be something which helps you gain a bit more confidence about how to do GvG, how to get involved in GvG, and feel like you're contributing to your guild until the point you say, do you know what, I don't need the bot attack, I can go for the main towers, I understand the process. So.
I agree, but like I said, why is this an option for top guilds or guilds that are specialized? So it should be something like, as soon as you get into Plat 2, this locks out type of deal. It should,
right.
I think it should be an option for the top, if you rank up. So this is why I went back and I watched that presentation, and I saw there first was league tier system, and then they talked about the bot stronghold. So I thought it was going to be, okay, so if your league is not high enough, you're going to have this option, and then eventually you'll get to work yourself up.
Yeah, I can see the argument for that.
It's saying this is for early game players. I agree with you. That should be okay. That's fine, especially if they can't beat defenses because of bad matchmaking in GvG. That's another angle of this. Bad matchmaking. And if you are, I already see it in my Discord. Here comes a player that is ranked in a guild, ranked 238, 239. And the first round of Gauntlet is a Vasa. They can't do anything. They just feel frustrated. And, so it's just little things like that. But now they're not going to put this in Gauntlet, right? I hope not. I hope not. But, so
they can't manage to add Sandbox to Gauntlet yet. So who knows whether they're going to add it or not.
Let's not. Yeah. So, okay. We'll see. It's going to be interesting for top guilds. That's all I'm gonna say, because I can easily see somebody that is like, oh shit, I forgot to do my attacks. Let me just hit the bot stronghold. So we'll see.
Yeah, and that comes down to your guild management and what they consider to be more important. You getting half the amount of HP against the enemy versus you doing all of your attacks. I mean, it might be the 0.3% which pushes the win, but the chances are it's not going to be, and you might as well have not bothered. But anyway.
I can just see some scenarios playing out in terms of the last minute push, and it's like, you only need 0.2% to clinch a win, but you can't beat any of the strong defenses, so let me just go to the bot stronghold and try to squeeze in a couple of percentage points there. This is why I don't envy you being a guild leader, because
I'm not a guild leader anymore. I'm a vicer there, so I don't have to worry about this.
Either way, you still have to keep track of it. But this is what I'm not gonna envy the leaders of my cluster, because they're going to keep an eye on this. And we just had a match where the difference was 2%. So imagine if those of us that were in the last round, we were having problems with all the Valera defenses that were up, and we're just saying, okay, let's do some quick math. If we just go to the bot stronghold, can we get that 2%? It's like, all right, we'll see. We'll see how this is going to be really intriguing as to how this plays out. This is what I was saying. I did not think that this feature was going to be in this top guild league ranking system that we're talking about.
Given how close some of the Slayer Mad matches have been recently, I think stuff like this could really play into that. But again, that plays into the whole fact that the scoring system in GvG is completely broken and needs rebuilding from the ground up.
And can I just say just a little note here, because we're part of still the Dragon Slayers community, right? And I've seen I'm gonna phrase this. I have seen the discussions that these two guilds are having in terms of, you're copying our defenses, but you're copying our attacks, blah blah blah. This system sucks. We can't, even if we beat you, we can't climb up. Guys, stop it. Don't argue amongst yourselves. That is what Muntan is hoping. You argue amongst yourselves so they don't get the flack about the bad system that they have implemented. So take all that energy that you're putting into typing messages between each other, Dragonshire and Mad, use that energy to get them to fix the system. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah. Okay, Guild War Challenge Quest, which sounds like there's going to be more achievements for doing Guild War, which is more free stuff, or better. Titan Matrix.
Okay.
Take the hardest content in the game, make it harder. No.
All right, so I haven't been playing the Forerunner account too much, but I have had the opportunity to run the boss battle just to get an understanding of how things are running. There was one particular thing that I noticed, and this update is just going to make it worse. So go ahead and tell the people exactly what they did.
Yeah, so You can now no longer apply damage reduction to the boss or attack reduction to the boss. That's the primary one. The secondary one is that if your tank dies during some of the biggest single target focused DPS in the game on any content, then pretty much your entire team will die unless their HP is above about 50,000. It's horrible.
Yep, I saw that. All of a sudden, my squad just went out, and I was like, "What happened? This wasn't.
Yep.
This didn't happen the last time I tested it." And then, yep, I went and looked at the boss mechanics, and sure enough, they changed that. Mechanic when the tank goes down. It's like a burst damage around. How did they phrase it? Like a burst damage surrounding.
Deal one-time high damage to all allies, and it's like, it's a
exactly.
big. It's not just around him; it's everyone on the field. If you can have your tank right over to one corner to try and bucket him away, it doesn't matter. Everyone, all your allies, one-time hit, about 50,000 HP, and it's horrible. And you pretty much need 3 healers, including someone like Carnelian, to try and push past about.
I did 3 healers on the tank. I couldn't keep him alive. 120k, 8,000 defense tank. Yeah. I like. What the hell are you supposed to keep this guy alive? What exactly are we going for?
So I've tried Brockir, I've tried Earlis, and I just can't keep a tank alive with 2 healers. You definitely need 3 healers, but then you've got to try and balance all the incoming damage. I have not got the physical side right at all. Magic I can get just under 20,000, but the physical side is a complete mess.
Now, the one thing that I found weird, and I do have a clip of it. I forgot it. I should submit it. When Torador knelt, though, it looked like it considered it a death, and it just wiped everybody else out. It's like it like the game side. Yes, Torador knelt. He's going to revive, but he's not there. So even though I got him to proc that the first time, it just like everything around it, the damage still dispersed out, even though Torador was still there, but he knelt. So it's almost
absolutely hysterical, considering Torador was shown on the. So there are some leaked sort of banners coming out of heroes who do well in this content, and Torador is listed on there. So actually, they've made him one of the worst heroes you can have in this content.
Okay, and I was like, am I seeing things here? And I forgot to submit it, but it's like, am I seeing things here? Even though he's still there, even though he knelt, everything, the burst damage still is going to occur. I was like, and same thing with Recur, right? It's just like, well, he's still there.
Brock is okay because he freezes. He doesn't actually die, but the second time it comes round, even with I've got him A4, I've got over 120k HP on him, I've got healers on him, I've got damage reduction on him. It doesn't matter.
It's exclusive artifact. It's just poof.
Yeah.
God.
It doesn't. So I think the one thing that's worth mentioning is that if you can take out the ads before the focus strike, you've got a fraction of a chance more to survive, because the things that spawn in will attack the bot, will attack your tank at the same time during that focus strike, making it even worse. So there is burst DPS that's required, and you kind of think, I want to do it at this phase when the boss is down. It's like, no, if you've got ultimates up, you'll pretty much spam ultimates on all of your DPS units, because you need to be taking out the stuff that's coming in all the time. There is no good time to pause on the damage output.
If there is nothing else in terms of changes to the boss before it comes to the global server, I just wanted to ask a question: is why do you think that Moontan just decides, if we're going to introduce a new piece of content, let's just go to the extreme. Let's not have levels like we do with Drake's Chasm, right? At the beginning. It's just a step up, but if you evolve your roster, you can get it there, right? So like Abyss 1, I always thought maybe that should have been like Abyss 3. You know, like give people like an Abyss 1 where the roster is not as demanding as this one is, because with this one, you know, it's like Sulcadence or Nastaya, or you need the Poison comp, or is this you get your A5 Wukong, A5 Kigiri.
Yeah. If you don't have A5 Wukong and very, very high awakenings on specific heroes, it's really difficult to push past 35k. And getting to 35k, yeah,
it's a small fraction of players that can get there. And so with this here, and again, is going to be a fraction of the fraction of players that can hit Abyss 1. So why not slowly ramp up the difficulty? Why do you think they insist on just boom, highest difficulty possible?
Well, I think you alluded to it earlier. It's because that they can then start having new heroes coming down the pipeline that people on the test server start demonstrating. And the devs will tell them, focus on this hero in this content, and that will they'll drive sales. And it's exactly what they're looking at. I mean, so Titanic Ruins came out, and around that time, Titanic Ruins wasn't available on global yet. Lucius started sort of appearing, and all the people on global go, "Why do we want cleanse? I don't get this. It's complete waste of time." And all the guys on forerunner go, "You need this, and
you're gonna need this. Yeah,
you're gonna need this." And yeah, this was exactly that. So expect there's going to be heroes coming out to global, and they're going to look weird. They're not going to look like they fit into the pattern of what you're expecting. But yeah, they're going to fit here. They're going to fit here, 100%.
Like I told you earlier, I think it's going to be all non-Lord Ancient type heroes. I just see it. I can just see it.
Yeah. Which goes back to we need pity on ancients, non-Lord Ancients, because it's killing the game.
Wait, I can't remember if it was your comment section or my comment. Did I see somebody on our previous video or previous episode of the podcast say
300 plus summons?
Pity? Did somebody actually say that we do not need non-Lord pity in the ancient summon? You know,
that might have been on yours. People were saying that they did need it. So yeah.
Okay, I thought somebody said that we do not need it, and I was thinking to myself, do you know how demoralizing it is to some players to go 600, 800 crystals and not see a non-Lord? I mean, what? Why are you leaning that way? That comment puzzled me. It's like you really don't want pities on that anything. There's pity on almost every other type of hero, but those you don't want some type of system that guarantees you at least one copy, even if it's just sell, for God's sakes. I mean, what? I don't get the thinking of some of the players sometimes. It's puzzling.
Yeah. Okay. Few more things that have been added to the game.
That's a lot of words.
It's a lot of words. They've improved the experience for claiming rewards for Apocalypse 1. Well, unless you're giving me better rewards, I'm not interested. They keep saying they've optimized the interface performance. It's not, if you have, it's not perceptible to the human eye. The best one is reduce the drop rate of 5-star psychic powers and gold from Malrik chests. So instead of getting gold and psychic powers, you're now going to get Smoldering Channel and Sanguine Fabric. So, bonus. Final stage countdown. I think you picked up on this on your video. So if the boss spawns in the final stage, it's sometimes impossible to kill him off before you run out of time. So this is an opportunity to do better. More chance to take him out. Fixed display bugs in storage. Added status indicators during filtering. Yeah. I think it just says filtered, so I've just come out to. So if you come in here, so yeah, it now has a little filtered tag. So click away, and it says filtered, just so that you know that a filter is on. This was always highlighted, but now they've just added this big tooltip that says, "Look, you've got a filter on." So.
Nothing yet about all those thumbs up though. It's so annoying to see those thumbs up on everything that you do.
Oh yeah. I thought you used to be able to toggle the thumbs on and off, but they don't seem to do that anymore. They've batch augmentation. You can, if you now have batches of augments, you can now do them in batches. I don't have any because I generally don't do Malriks because I can't be bothered with the hassle. So you can now do, you can just burn through them and keep improving them. Basically, if you've unlocked some of the core epic demon soldiers, you get a full copy in your inbox. So rather than having to do shards, I think it's because obviously they gave these away, I think originally as part of the demon soldier thing in the war room, and they've stopped kind of doing that. So yeah, there's another opportunity to get free stuff. And ultimate hero packs, leaderboards. Oh, so they've increased the pool of heroes in the ultimate hero pack. That is either a good thing or a bad thing. I think they've added some new ones, but the trouble is they won't have removed the ones who are weaker, so they've actually diluted the pool overall, so there's more chance of not getting the one you want. And starting from...
I wanted to make sure that wording was correctly, because it does say legendary. It doesn't say lords, right? It says all the legendaries that we added. So yeah,
I'm hoping this is a typo, because otherwise it's completely useless. And they've added this. This is the wording of the global patch notes that slipped into Forerunner, because otherwise there is no change to this until October. There's another
starting
opportunity.
With the
Yeah. There's another opportunity to get a Soulstone every couple of weeks, but you still got to buy it.
3-2-3-2 is what they're going to do now, apparently. So,
but again, it's kind of pointless to announce this in September when you're not actually implementing it for another month.
Oh,
by the time it rolls out, everyone will forget.
They're just kind of gently or nicely telling the data miners to go get the schedule out for us. That's what happened.
Dear, the people they claim to hate. Okay, so
Here
getting
comes,
back to the rest of this episode, we've been talking for 45 minutes about these patch notes, 50 minutes about these patch notes, and we haven't even got to the meat of it. So, Soulstone shards. Here we go.
Yeah,
so from Nightmare 3 Legendary Chest onwards, there's an opportunity to get these things. 1 to 2 in Nightmare 3, 1 to 3 in Nightmare 4, and 2 to 4 in between 2 to 3 and 2 to 4 in Abyss 1. So and you need 1,200 of these things to get a Soulstone. Now, I've watched so many videos on this today, just trying to get a community feel on it. Some people are very much of the opinion that it can only be a good thing because it's a free Soulstone. Very much, other people are very much like, this is ridiculous. And yeah, basically, it's prompted the devs to put out a dev insight, which I'm just going to pull up on screen here. Oh,
Can you TLDR that in terms of what they said? Because to me, they tried to say something that I don't think really is applicable to the response. I don't know.
So normally you expect me to interpret Moonton, and I can't do that here, because basically they just shot themselves in the foot, because they said you're guaranteed there's no RNG, you're definitely going to get this. It's like, well, yeah, kinda, but there is RNG, because you're going to have, there's, as you can see here on this table, there is RNG. But the basic information that you need to, the takeaway message is it will take you between 171 and 400 days, or between 133 and 300 days if you're spending 200 gems a day, which you will probably make back through rewards from your other night, from your Drake's chest. So it's a cost, but it's probably a cost neutral process, because you're generally making those 200 back. And yeah, it's on average you're looking at around 200 days to get an uncommon Soulstone. Now,
okay,
for me,
you just said it. On average, according to them, there is no RNG. So if there is no RNG, there should be no on average. So help me out here. Where am I going wrong?
No. I completely agree with you on that element. It's like, I think that they could have rolled this out so much better. I'm not. I think when what the other thing they haven't clarified. I mean, yeah, there's lots of stuff about they haven't diluted the pity, the rates for Soulstones in here. You can still get them through the normal process. This is a bonus drop. I mean, I don't have any videos of it, but once you've claimed your chests for downing the dragon, the screen pops up and it says you've got this many shards, and so it is definitely a bonus thing. It's not diluting the chances of getting these things. However, these things are stupidly rare as it is. So if they wanted to say every 4 months everyone gets a Soulstone, fine, do it that way. Throwing in the random feature, it's just frustrating, depressing. There's so many things you could take away from it. It's a PR blunder, and I think from how they've done.
Yep, fortunately. And so you kind of expressed two of the sentiments that I had. So especially was that, yes, they are giving you something. I don't disagree with that. When I looked at the 1200 number, I laughed at it, but at the same time, I wanted to get an understanding of how frequent the drops would be. And so when somebody said it was between 4 or 2 and 4, 2 and 5, and then they went and did the calculation that said, well, if you are extremely lucky, you're looking at about 300 days. If you're not so lucky, if you are lucky, 150, 140, I think is what I was seeing. But there's still that element, that same feeling that we're getting from the unpolished and the legendary soulstones, where some accounts are more fruitful than others, right? You and I discussed this before. It was weird.
Well, Destin said that one of the guys in your guild has 20 sitting in his account. That's insane.
Yeah, I know who he's talking about. Yeah, exactly. And there's some of us that are in that 10-ish range, and then some is like 5 throughout the lifespan of that they've been playing. So you and I have joked about the bell curve, but damn, dude, there's just so much randomness in each account. And then there's that whole theory about account city. Like we see when we farm that some accounts are just set to get better rates. Now, when I saw it and then they did the calculations, I said, okay, if their intention was that on average you should get one at 220 days, the simplest thing would have been 240. Put it in the calendar. It's right there. Every 240, you get a Soulstone. Easier.
Login reward. Yeah,
exactly. And I forgot to mention that in my video, but because the thing that I wanted to jump to right away was that I really do think that they're using this as a distraction from the main point that they either blundered or they misspoke or they did not intend to release to the public during the dev interview about a pity system with the Soulstones. So as soon as I heard that, I pushed back on it and said, okay, you have to tell us when the pity kicks in, and now you're going to have to tell us what the rates are. You can't just say there is something that we implemented, we didn't tell you about it, but it's been there, and then completely brush it aside, not speak about it after that, and then throw this at us to say, here's a carrot to distract you from that original point.
So I think the other way of looking at this is that 1 in 1,200, you could take that as the rate at which the chances of getting a Soulstone are in the drop pool, which is about 0.8%, which is the same as pulling a Lord on the ancient pool. So that seems to be one of the thresholds that they have in their head for what is a fair reward. So let me just pull that up, because I've spoken that, and now I just want to double check that I've got that information right. So here we go. Drop rates. So there you go. 0.8%. So I'm saying it's 0.08% for an unpolished legendary Soulstone, if 1 in 12,000 is their drop rate. So, yeah. Is that a good thing, or should it be 0.8%, which doesn't make a massive significant difference, because it's like, well, then it's the same chance as pulling a Lord, but that's probably a bit high. But yeah, I don't know.
Even if with all this type of examples, and you're trying to say what we think might be, but why hide it? I mean, I think that there's already. I'm gonna say it's fairly established now. A lot of games are putting the rates of or the rewards for everything that they drop in some type of website or in the game. They explicitly tell you what the rates are, so you can look at it. So
that's
why
much because the European Commission told them that they had to if they
that
wanted
is
to
what
work
I meant
in Europe.
too. Exactly. So why is I don't know how Muntan is getting around it in the UU, but why is it that they're so hesitant about releasing that and putting it? Because we already know with the legendary heroes, they drag their feet so long to actually tell us what the drop rate was, that now they have said, okay, it is end by this times this.
Well, but they also, I think they had to spend a lot of time clearing up their code base to normalize the rates of the heroes within the pool and get rid of the buckets. So I think that was one of the reasons they dragged their heels on that.
Yes, we know that happened. So again, I'm going to keep harping on this until I quit. We have to know what the rates are for those rewards. If in fact it is 0.8% or even 0.4%, they have to say that now. Because they're the ones that stepped on it. Not we didn't do it. They're the ones that stepped on it. They said we put in a pity. So tell us what the pity is, and also tell us what the rates are. And don't try to distract us by saying you're guaranteed to get 1 or 2 Soulstones a year. That's my major problem. That was.
I mean, it doesn't help when you see there are accounts, as we've already mentioned, that are pulling 4 or 5. Every couple of months. I mean, that's just unfair. I mean, yes, I know there's a bell curve, I know there's normal distribution, but to have someone who is that far out on the bell curve, who's consistently getting it, and everyone else is on the opposite end of the bell curve, that's messed up.
Okay. And then my final point in this whole thing is that some players were saying, you might be a little bit too harsh with this because they might throw this in events and stuff like that. I'm gonna say it is possible that they do it for anniversary events like they did, giving us a free Soulstone and stuff like that, which would be really disheartening if you have to grind for shards instead of you seeing the end goal of being a Soulstone or something like that. That's just a way for them to possibly dilute that, right? It's saying, okay, we don't want to give you a full Soulstone, so maybe here we'll give you 600 shards to speed it up or something like that, right? That was one of the concerns that I had. Two is everything. So I kind of laid it out purposely in my video, saying everything that they've been doing lately has been monetization, and unfortunately, and I told you this as well, when it comes to these shards, this is another opportunity for them to possibly microtransaction this as well. And why do I say that? Because they put special packs now in the shop where they're selling you shards for summoning crystals, for hammers, for what else did I see there? For artifact essence.
So there's artifact material stuff, artifact material shards. There were ancient shards, and there were hammer shards and divine shards. So it was 299 W gold. So it actually, as microtransactions goes, it fits the requirement because it was micro. Yeah. I think overall it was decent value for what you were getting within this thing, and I normally moan
but
about
I'm not talking
things.
about value. I am talking about them monetizing that resource, because how soon is it going to take before we see a little pack here with 10 or 20 Soulstone shards?
Yeah, no, that's not that. They will sell that. If they sell that, it will be at 499 W gold or above, because they're not going to micro that transaction, because that is 4 or 5 days of effort. So I've done 2 rounds of collection now since these shards came available. I've got 11 shards. So if you're talking about 10 shards, that's quite a lot of effort from the developer's perspective to get those rewards. What I want to see is, if they're introducing these shards, is the shards to be in Apocalypse and Titanic Ruins in general. Every single one of these chests should have those Soulstone shards in.
I don't think they'll put them up. I don't think they will. I think that they really want to restrict it to all the resources that takes to enhance gear. Everything regarding the Soulstones, they're probably going to keep it on Drake's Chasm. But it's going to be one of the scenarios where, they want to specialize it for that content there, so you push it and get the heroes that you need to hit 60k, or you have to buy it.
I think overall, the Soulstone shard thing is like, I'm not against it. It just leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. When someone told me it was 1,200 Soulstone shards to get one, I thought it was a troll. I thought they were joking. But for me, the number is wrong. The intent is right. The number is wrong. And I think Sebastian has completely identified that and several other content creators have identified that the RNG element is wrong. You can't say there is no RNG and then have RNG. Pick a number, stick with it.
You're still adding that variability, right? Some accounts are going to be luckier than others. So let's look at it from the perspective of a player that plays 3 years. Just, so let's say there's one player that takes 300 days to get there. They're going to get 2. Now, let's say there's an account that just gets slow lucky and, it's pop, 4, 4, 4, 4. 150 days, 1. 150 days, 2. 150 days, 3. 3 years, they already have 6, 5.
Yeah.
You're still creating that discrepancy between accounts. So if there are other content creators that have a problem with the RNG, okay, bless them. I do as well. But I'm looking more at the global scope of what they said in the dev interview regarding the pity, and the fact that what I'm pushing on is more about disclosing the rates of this thing, because I do really think that they're trying to distract from that point that they blundered on by creating this other blunder, which was, here's a carrot, you're going to be able to see it at all times, you're going to get 1 or 2 Soulstones every year. All right. And then even taking it more widely as a macro of the ecosystem is that there is struggles bringing in new players in, and now they're also restricting how those new players can advance in the game. So let's now focus on the end gamers. Let's try to monetize in that angle there and try to do it as quickly as we can, because there might be a further decline coming down the pipeline, because they are seeing it. You can't tell me that this is not all being planned because of the decline that we just had recently with players just leaving the game. And they're going to try to microtransaction as much as they can now, especially with all this endgame content, before the actual dip occurs. And all of those of you that want to defend them in terms of, yes, it takes money to keep up servers, it takes money to develop the game. Yeah, I understand all of that. But you got to be conscious about that there is a drop here of players happening on both ends. And if the ecosystem is not healthy because you're losing population from both sides, what do you have? It doesn't matter how much you then charge of it and or how much you pump into the game and how much you're going to charge and what the heroes are. If the revenue is not there, it's not going to happen. So
yeah, I someone commented on one of the previous videos that they didn't care that the whales were leaving. It's like, no, you need to care that the whales are leaving, because as soon as the business says there's no interest in this game, they switch the servers off. That's it. Game over. Developers do not build this stuff for fun. They build it to make money. So as soon as they're not making money, they're just going to say, that's it. Game over. We move on to the next rinse and repeat gacha.
Oh yeah, it's like you're all reassigned. You gotta go develop. You gotta go work on this game now because this is what we want to focus on. So this is what I've been thinking about health-wise of the game. Is are they just, at least right now, their mentality is let's just try to milk as much as we can before the dip occurs, and then once the dip occurs, we just keep it running as best as we can, but we don't expect as many updates to roll out as we're seeing now. And eventually, I think, eventually down the line, I want to see 6 months from now is how much development there is after all this is cleaned up or all of this is implemented. And then from the updates and the patch notes, we're going to be able to see exactly what they really do think the health of the game is.
Yeah, I think that is a really good point to end on tonight. So that was WoRs Going On. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.